Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out this gas generator from AIVolt. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what we have. Okay, so I want to be completely transparent. I have never used a gas generator. Not once. Never. And so I have no idea what to expect when I open up this box. But I do know that if for someone who especially relies on solar, a gas generator is always something that is a great backup plan when the sun just isn't out for days on end and your batteries are starting to get low. But this generator right here, it is small. I mean, it has a peak of 1600 watts and a max running wattage of 1260. So this generator is really going to be a specific use generator. And I'm not planning on this running, parts of my house. I'm not going to be plugging it into a transfer switch or anything like that. The main reason I want this is I want to have a generator that I can plug into I can plug a power station into it. Or maybe even that 5 kilowatt hour golf cart battery that I have that's connected to an all-in-one unit. So what I really wanted, I wanted something that was small enough where I could easily carry it, but large enough to be able to run maybe like 800 watts continuously. So that way I could have a small power station and charge it up in like an hour, or even have like a bigger power bank and be able to charge that up over several hours just in case of an emergency. All right, we got this piece of cardboard on top and then a maintenance guide. Now remember, I've never used a gas generator, so anything that can help me just pull this thing out and get it running as quickly as possible would be very beneficial. And then having actually a maintenance guide, I think that might come in handy because, again, I'm used to solar generators or battery backup power, so I never have to do maintenance on those. But with a gas generator, you do have to keep the oil checked, you do have to kind of maintain the gas that's inside. So hopefully this will tell me everything that I need to know, and as a very novice gas generator user, I will be able to pull this out, know how to put and how much oil to put in, and just get it running as quickly as possible. All right, next up is feels like a tool kit and some sort of funnel. We have the user's manual, which probably for me will come in handy. And then we have the generator. All right, so here is the generator. And I've been looking it over for probably like 10 minutes. And let me tell you what I know so far. First of all, on this side right here, first of all, this thing weighs 26.7 pounds. So it's actually, it's very portable, which is nice. And that's kind of what I like about it. I know that there's other bigger generators that have wheels and stuff like that, but the option to be able to just carry this around, I like that. And right here is, I believe, the front, and then there's this panel right here that you can take off. And inside here, this is where you have access to your spark plug right here. So I believe the spark plug is just right underneath there. And in this little bag is a tool that you can use to remove the spark plug, to replace it, or just to inspect it. This whole thing is made out of this plastic material, and I don't know how long it'll last in the sun, but I don't plan on leaving it outside in the sun every day. It's going to be in my garage, so I think this material will be just fine. The back, I believe there's a lot of venting, and then there's also an exhaust, and it has a warning right here that says hot surface. Basically, do not put your hands like this while it's running. Okay, on this side we have our fuel cap and where we're going to be pouring our gasoline. It says not to use E15 or E85 gas. Only use just unleaded gasoline. On this cap, there's also an off and on switch. I believe that is for venting. So you'll want to leave that off until you need to use the generator, then you flip it to the on position. Inside here is also a screen, so it will help clear out larger debris that's in your gas. Also, we have our fuel switch, so you'll want to leave this in the off position until you're ready to use it. Right here is the choke, so we have our start and then our run position. You'll want to leave it on start. After you flip the fuel switch to on, you'll want to leave this on start. And then you'll want to pull the rope that goes to the recoil starter to basically just pull it and it should start up. We're going to be removing this because I believe this is where we access the oil to either change it or add oil. And again, it does come with a little tool bag. This right here, I believe, is to remove the spark plug. And then we have a simple Phillips head screwdriver, so we'll just go ahead and use that to remove this. And this screw does come out all the way, so keep that in mind. And then this just pops off. All right, and here's where you add your oil. This should be a dipstick. There's our dipstick right there. And here is the included funnel. I believe the funnel you just screw in. Yeah, you just screw it in, and then you can just pour your oil directly into this funnel. Makes it a lot easier to add the oil in. It does say that this generator does hold up to 0.35 liters of oil. And I understand that that is something that you do not want to overfill or keep very low. You want to maintain that. And it also looks like we have an air filter here as well. Let's go ahead and just put this back on so I don't lose anything. All right, that comes on and off very easily. One thing I did notice about the oil is that it didn't come with any. There is a full sheet right here that kind of shows what kind of oils you can use and what kind of temperatures. So I think if you had 5W30 full synthetic, that would be the best thing to use in any environment when it comes to temperature. But you have to keep that in mind. When you buy a gas generator, you're gonna have to buy oil. It doesn't come with like a starter oil. I don't know if all of them don't, but this one does not. All right, and now here is the front of the unit. All right, and here's what I see. I see, well, an output, so that just shows that there is output coming out of these 120 receptacles. There's an overload button, so that's probably if you're running too high of an amperage. This thing maxes out at around 10 to 10.5 amps at 120 volts. Then there's also an oil light saying that your oil is too low. Here is an hour meter to kind of show you how long the generator has been running at that time. We have our engine off-on switch right here. We have eco mode right here. We have a reset button. That's just in case your generator is running, but you're not getting any electricity out of it. You press this reset button to reset it. We have a CO safeguard right here. This unit is designed so if it senses CO2 in the air, it will shut off. So that kind of makes it safe for those people that want to try to run this in their garage or something like that. That's super dangerous, and this thing will hopefully keep that so it doesn't kill people. Right here we have a 5-volt DC plug. We have a USB-A and a USB-C port right here. And it does say 3.6 amps and 3 amps. You're looking at about a 15 watt and an 18 watt USB set right here. There are parallel connects. In my mind, I haven't read about it yet, but it seems like you could buy a couple of these and actually parallel them together for more output wattage. Here's your ground screw right here. And then underneath this plastic, here's a cover for our two 20 amp receptacles. And they do run at 120 volts. And this cover does actually snap on pretty well, so that's nice to see. All right, so the only thing to do now is actually to take this thing outside, put oil in it, put gas in it, start it up and see how loud it is. And we're also gonna check for voltage. We're gonna check for a sine wave to see if it's a pure sine wave or a modified sine wave. So let's go ahead and take it outside. All right, well, I got this thing out in my garage right now with my garage door open, but I'm not gonna be running it in here. All I wanna do is just fill up the oil and fill up the gas and then move it. So following this quick start guide right beside me, the first thing I wanna do is actually make sure it has plenty of oil by adding, it says it has a capacity of 0.35 liters, which is 350 milliliters. And I have about 450 milliliters of oil right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add about 300, maybe 250 milliliters and then check it with a dipstick because I don't wanna overfill it on my first try. So let's go ahead and use the tools provided to take this cover off again. And, you know, and it would be nice if this cover actually had like a, like a little plastic thing where you could just snap this screw into. That way you would never lose it. Screw in our funnel. All right, and it looked like 0.35 liters or 350 milliliters was exactly what I needed. All right, so oil is in it. It's topped off. I think the next thing I got to do is just put gas in it. I don't have to do anything with a spark plug. On this quick start maintenance guide, it does say that after you run it for about 100 hours or 6 months, that's when you should check or change the spark plug. In the documentation, it does tell you exactly what type of spark plug to get, and it actually tells you the exact torque that you should have it set to. Now, this generator only holds 2.5 liters or 0.66 gallons of fuel. So keep that in mind when you need to purchase fuel. Now, the one thing I did notice about this generator is that it does not have a fuel gauge like on the side or something, so you can constantly see how much fuel you have in there. So you'd have to go by like the timing on their little clock in the front. But there is, like in this little fuel filter, there is a little red thing that says level. So you're probably supposed to fill it up to that. But man, that doesn't give you much play when you're filling it up. I don't want to overflow this thing. All right, and with this thing full of fuel and full of oil, it's still very easy to move around. It's not really a burden at all. All right, well, here's the moment of truth. Let's see how easy this thing is to actually start up. Let's turn it around real quick. First, I want to open up the air for the fuel, turn the fuel switch on, open up the choke so it's on. It's already on start, so I don't have to do anything with that. I should be able to just pull this lever, right? All right, well, I've pulled it about 10 times and it hasn't done anything, but then I went back and looked at the quick start manual and it says that you have to turn the engine switch on. So let's try that and see if it starts. All right, well, you can see that I am probably about 1.5 to 2 feet away from the unit, and this is how loud it is. I'll go ahead and put on the screen my sound monitor. You can see from about 2 feet away, it looks to be about 70 decibels. If I put right next to the unit, it's still only like 74 decibels. And from about 5 feet away, we're looking at 67 decibels. But you gotta remember, that's on idle. There's nothing plugged into this. So let's go ahead and test the voltage, test the sine wave to see what it's like, and then we're gonna put a 800 watt load on there and we'll retest all that stuff again to see what changes. All right, the voltage actually shows 124.8 volts. And I'm not sure if you can see that, but it is showing a beautiful pure sine wave. So that is nice. I was actually expecting this to be a modified sine wave, but it is not. It is a pure sine wave. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I'm going to try to charge up this OSCAL portable power station. Now this thing will accept up to 800 watts, and this thing can only max out at like 1260. So I want to see how long it would take to charge this all the way up to 100%, and if I have enough gas in this and everything. So let's go ahead and just plug this in, and our power station is at 15% right now. There we go. This power station is now pulling 800 watts, and that's what it sounds like now. All right, and from about 2 feet away, we're still looking at between like 73 and 75 decibels, which is kind of like having a vacuum cleaner running. And the sine wave is still a very nice, clean sine wave, even with 800 watts being pulled through it. And our voltage is still 121 volts. So I'm really happy with the performance of this gas generator. All right, so that generator's been running for about 5 minutes now, and that portable power station is already up to 20%. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this run, and get that power station all the way up to 100%, and we're gonna see how long it takes. All right, well, I would call this gas generator test a complete success. This little 1,260 watt max gas generator from AIVolt, it powered up this portable power station in about an hour and 15 minutes, from 15% all the way to full. Now you're probably wondering, what's the point of actually doing that? I mean, I could have plugged in solar panels into this, but the skies are overcast and there was no way I would have been able to fill this thing up with just solar panels in that amount of time. And the reason for it is this thing right here can easily run that refrigerator back there for 10 to 12 hours at a time. So just think of this scenario. You have a power outage, and what's the one thing that you care about? Your refrigerator. You do not want your refrigerator getting so hot that all the food that is, hundreds of dollars of food all spoils. So what can you do? You can have a portable power station like this to plug it into, and it will run for, like I said, 10 to 12 hours. And then if it's super dark outside or if the sun's just not shining, you can have a small generator like this, unplug your refrigerator, just don't open it, run the generator, charge this thing up in an hour and 20 minutes, and then take it back inside and plug it in for another 10 to 12 hours. That way you're only running your generator, for an hour and a half, or probably at most 3 hours every 24 hours to keep your refrigerator powered. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about what I did with the portable gas generator from AIVolt, please go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'll have a link to all these items in my description, just in case you want to look further into them. Thanks again, and have a great day. Bye-bye.